Hello, Steve White, TrekBoy89 for Steve Arts89. It appears we have had some news on Pike. I have not been paying attention. There's been so much talk about Pike in the last year and a half or so since he appeared on Discovery Season 2 and everyone loved him. I hate Discovery Season 1. I kind of hated Season 2. I hated all the parts that had the Discovery cast. The scenes of Anson Mount and Rebecca Ramon and even Ethan Peck when he eventually became Spock-like. I didn't hate them. There were problems, but I kind of feel like if they did a series, I could accept that it's an alternative universe series and possibly enjoy it if they actually try and make it a Star Trek series, if they actually focus on exploring space and an optimistic future and not just feeling like they have to double down on the whole Discovery, dark, dystopian, hating Star Trek and Star Trek fans sort of. If they could just get on a different tangent, I think I could go with it and accept it and possibly even enjoy it. I enjoyed a few moments with Anson Mount as Pike, and when I met him, I liked him. I didn't ask him any questions about the show because he's very diplomatic but also very tight-lipped and very smart. I can tell about from his interviews and that, so I didn't even bother asking him anything in person. I didn't ask him anything during the Q&A or anything. I just told him what I thought of the show, that he was the only thing I liked about the show, which is a little unfair. I did like Rebecca and I did like Ethan Peck by the end, so I probably should have said that because that was probably a bit insulting to his cast members, but whatever. He said it's good that I have an opinion that there's nothing worse than mediocrity, because I was respectful. I just said, I have problems with the show. I'm a Star Trek purist, but I liked your performance as Pike, and here I am getting your autograph and blah blah. So I didn't get anything out of him, and no one else has either. But he did appear to slip up because this happened a week ago. There's a couple of things that have happened, but the first main thing happened a week ago, which apparently he tagged Strange New Worlds when he was talking about something, and apparently Strange New Worlds is the name of the show. Now, often when they do shows, they have a placeholder name, like Star Wars was Blue Harvest, and one of the Star Treks was Green Harvest, and they do this sort of stuff all the time, so people don't it just gives them a little bit of anonymity, so they don't get like hoarded by people wanting to watch the show getting filmed or something and cause them trouble, whatever. So this is not uncommon, and often they change the names of shows anyway. They sort of think, well, maybe we'll call it this, maybe we'll call it that, and then it's not until they really get into the production and the publicity and marketing that they start to actually decide on some of those elements. But apparently, and this all comes from Ketwolski, and I think he's a bit of a shill, but he does his work. He takes it seriously. I respect him. I watched his video and he went through a lot of sleuthing, and there are a few people that are in the Canadian things that basically that they have a show listed being in production called Strange New Worlds, and some of the people who are listed in the cast, some of the low down people, have made a few posts which seem very mysterious. One had a Vulcan hand salute. One had a screen with people, and all the people seem to have Delta symbols behind them, and they were part of the crew. So it does appear as though pre-production has ended and people have been working on this show. It hasn't gone into production yet. I'm guessing they were planning to have it after. Originally the talk was Section 31 was going to go into production after Picard. It would be going in production after Discovery Season 3, which hasn't aired yet. I'm not sure they've finished it. I know they finished filming, but they may have had problems finishing the actual production because of Rona. So we're not sure when there's no release date. No one knows what's happening. We know it's been finished. There's talk of them doing reshoots to do a final for the series, not just the season. God, I hope that's true. I just want it to go. I've given up on any hope of Season 3 being any good. They seem to have gone way backwards, even though they've gone 1,000 years into the future or 900 and something years in the future. They've gone way backwards so far as destroying the Federation, just making it dark and bleak, and just a bunch of people running around desert worlds and Canadian backlots and environments in clothes that don't even look like their uniforms. Just nothing looks and feels like Star Trek in this from anything we've seen. It seems to be the search for Michael Burnham, who's been separated, and I just can't see anything good about it. So Pike is my only hope at the moment. My main hope is that they Sherry Redstone and that once they sort out CBS Viacom, just get rid of Kurtzman, bring someone new in, and just make actual Star Trek, which she was around for the original production. So I think she wants it back. So if she stays and they get through Rona, we might get some real Star Trek. But in the meantime, the closest we're going to get is Pike, because the talk is that it's going to be just Pike on the Enterprise 5-year mission. So that's basically what Star Trek is. Basically, it's just going to be a ship in space exploring. And I'm actually optimistic that cast, they're likable. The characters, the cast, once Spock shaved and got on the bridge, that 5-minute scene was like, if we just had this, I could be okay with it. I could enjoy it. So, and I know I'm supposed to hate all Star Trek, but I'm actually not one of those haters who just hates for the sake of it. I hated Discovery Season 1 because of what it was. I hated Season 2 because of elements. I hate Season 3 because of what it seems to be doing. But there were parts of Season 2 I actually liked. I liked the films in their context of being action films in a different alternative universe, not actual Star Trek and science fiction films, which they weren't. Well, at least the first film, and then Into Darkness just went backwards. Number one, set things up and everyone was really excited, and they gave us one little adventure in one little scene, and the rest of the film was just backwards. And Beyond tried, but they destroyed the Enterprise and basically said that space exploration is boring and it's only interesting when we're basically facing death and destruction and everything's been destroyed. That's the only time we're alive. I'm like, that's really not what Star Trek's about. So the film's kind of, and that's why there isn't a fourth one. But Pike, it sounds like they are actually doing it now. I'm sure they'll call it Pike because they did the other one is Picard. Of course, Pike would make sense. And you don't have to worry about giving up another title, because you could do another series of Star Trek called Strange New Worlds, because it's very vague but yet is very Star Trek. Whereas this, and this is the funny part with the second part of this, because the first part is that there's all these little hints that the show is actually in pre-production or production, and it's happening, and that's the name. But the other thing is that there's talk that they are casting an actor, and apparently the actor, oh God, I've lost his name. Jake Caravale, is it? Oh, shit, I can't read my own writing. This is a problem if you've watched my videos, you've seen this before. Who played Toro Calican on, I think that's how you say his name, on The Mandalorian. And he was Charlie Cruz on Nurse Jackie. Apparently he has done a Skype screen test with Ethan Peck, and they're looking at him to be Captain Kirk. Now, why Captain Kirk would even be in a Pike series, except the end of the series? When Pike, after the 5-year mission, he would then give the ship over to Kirk. So why he'd be even in the series, if they're going to put him in as an ensign or something, which I guess could be possible. We know he was on the Farragut before the Enterprise, but he could have started off on the Enterprise and gone back, who knows? I mean, it's sort of its own alternate universe, because it's an alternate universe for one, but also they don't acknowledge that, but they sort of treat it that way canon-wise, where they just do whatever they want and don't kind of acknowledge or respect or adhere to the actual canon of the other universe. So either way, it's a different universe. So he could just be on the show as an ensign, or just less lower down on the command tree than captain, a commander or something. I don't know. Maybe it's after the Farragut he goes to the Enterprise and is a commander or something, or some position before getting the captainship. That's plausible. See, they can do this series. They can make it work if they actually think about it, take the time, take the respect. It can actually work. And I'm hopeful and optimistic, and I'm probably just a masochist waiting to be shot down, because it probably will go really badly. But I'm still going to be hopeful. I'm choosing to be hopeful. I'm choosing to be optimistic. But so there's talk about this cast, and the thing that got my attention, that cracked me up, that got me to read the articles, because I sort of had lost interest, because if it was going to happen, they've obviously decided to do it at a certain time. It's not going to happen before then. They're not going to announce it or anything or give anything out before then. If it's not happening, then it's all just rumors and gossip. But they said that, and it was this site. What was it? What was the site? Oh, the Cinema Spot reported that they were casting Kirk for the new Pike series Star Trek Enterprise, because apparently that person didn't know Star Trek. There was already a series called Enterprise and then Star Trek Enterprise. So that was funny. And that made me read the article, and then I started realising, there's actually been some movement so far as the Strange New Worlds title and the production posts and stuff. So I got into it and had a look at that, and I thought, well, this is worth talking about. But I'm up to 10 minutes. I've covered it all. There's nothing new at this moment, but I think it's going to happen. One little nugget which I somehow missed in all my hating season 1 and looking for all the problems and all the issues with Kurtzman and all that. Apparently when he was approached to do the series, the first thing he said was, we can't have a male captain. And she has to be a woman, has to be of colour. I'm like, okay, no agenda there. No limits to the story there. Let's just set it right away. Okay. So part of the reason why Pike wasn't happening was because he didn't want to do a series with a male captain. I'm like, we've had 2 female captains. Well, okay, 2 female leads, one a captain and one a Mary Sue. But just do Pike, and if you want to focus on number 1, she can be the lead of the series. But don't create these characters for the sake of gender politics, as opposed to creating just a good character or a good show. We've already got a good show. We saw it. It was working. Just give us that. You can focus. We love number 1. She can be the lead, and Pike can still be the captain. Or maybe I don't know. There are so many possibilities, but the idea of just saying we will not do a Pike series because he is a male is just sexist and ridiculous. And maybe, eventually you're going to have to do a series with a male captain. Now, Picard was the lead. Patrick Stewart was the lead, but Picard isn't a captain. But then again, the hot Hispanic guy is. So, I don't know. I'm just going to leave it. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think. If you know anything, feel free to let me know. I'm choosing to be optimistic. I do think the series could work. I would like to see it, assuming they can let go of their Discovery crap and actually give this series its own identity inside of the Star Trek framework and make it a Star Trek show. Yes, I'm choosing to be optimistic.